Hey, it's your girls, Leah and Willow, and we're teaching something live on July 29th that we think you're going to love.
It's called the Erotic Polarity Masterclass, How Opposite Energies Create Delicious Desire.
Whether you're in a relationship that's lost its spark or you're dating and craving more charge, this is the class that explains exactly why polarity works and how to consciously bring it online.
We're talking about the 4 modes of erotic exchange: giving, receiving, taking, and allowing, and why most couples rarely play with all of them. We'll also talk about dominant and submissive dynamics without the mystery.
$33 gets you in, and $11 more gets you the recording to keep forever so that you can show it to the next person you're going to date and the next person you're going to date or your partner 5 years later because they might forget.
Not only that, but you'll get our cheat sheet on erotic polarity, so it's a very affordable thing to add to your purchase.
So join us July 29th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to sexreimagined.com/events. We'll see you there. Do women actually want to become better lovers too? Or has sex been framed for too long as something men are supposed to master? That's what we're going to explore today on the Sex Reimagined podcast. I'm Dr. Willow Brown here with the one and only Leah Piper, and we are so excited that you are with us.
So tune in, turn on, and fall in love with me and Willow.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
So, I've been having some interesting conversations lately with men, and I wanted to bring this up on the show and with you because I hadn't ever really heard it framed this way, but parts of it I could relate to. So one conversation was with this good friend of mine who's been in a long marriage for years and years and years, happily married and very happily polyamorous. And they are involved in lots of different scenes. Some of it the swinger scene, some of it the tantra scene, like all sorts of scenes. Really cool, open, interesting couple. And he has had so much experience. I mean, this is someone who has dated more women than 99% of the population. And one of the things he shared with me was like, women don't really care about being master lovers. He goes, you would be surprised how many women aren't very good lovers. And men seem very much interested in being great lovers and invest time, money, resources, in learning skills. And he goes, women don't really have to. But you could tell there was a longing, like wishing women would give as much of a shit as men do when it comes to learning skills of being an incredible lover. And then he went on to tell me, stories of he was seeing this woman who was maybe was a sex worker in some form, and like how masterful and skillful she was, and how she would do something really cool, and then that would have him up his game, and he would do really something cool, and then she would do something cool, and then he would do something cool. And like you could really tell that they were bringing a high skill level to how they were exploring with each other. And at the end, there was like, you're really good. It was very cute. And then they were at some sort of like event or play party, some kind of sex party. And there was dancing and all the stuff. And like, the men who are a little more aggressive, who are really sniffing around, how they kind of pull on attention, and how she would give them undivided attention for like 9 minutes. Really with them on the dance floor in conversation. And then her hands would just kind of go into a little namaste. She would tilt her head and she was complete. And she would go work the crowd, find someone else that she was going to connect with. She knew that she really wasn't going to hook up with these guys, but she brought something to the table. He goes, I was watching her do this, and it was amazing the effect she had on these guys.
Well, there you go. The power of presence is like, yeah.
Yeah, the power of presence, the power of undivided attention, the power of like really showing up without any issue. Like I owe you something because I'm giving you attention. Like she was like, she completed a circuit.
Right.
At the end of the action with poise. And the guys weren't hounding her. It was enough to go, I'm complete. You know, where that because sometimes there's men who just won't stop. It's like they'll almost use it as an invitation to just keep on kind of clobbering you with their attention that's a little in your space. And I just thought,
She sounds very masterful at holding a container, right? That's how I would put words to it. It's like
mhm.
she's there, she's present, she's 100% in when she's in, and when she's ready to close it out, she namastays out, you know?
Mom stays
And
out.
that's brilliant. And I feel like no matter what your gender is or where you're at on your level of mastery, if you get really good at holding a container and bringing 100% attunement to the experience when you're within the container, you're going to start to be on the masterful track.
Yeah.
So,
It was almost like her attention grounded the men.
yes.
And so that their revving wasn't so like blundering into the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought
Yes, exactly.
that was cool. But that's also kind of that's just sort of a segue. Because we use the word how to become a masterful lover in a lot of marketing because
Yeah.
it's compelling to men. And I never really thought how yeah, like I never really cared about being a masterful lover. When I've been in inquiry with sexuality, I've always cared about how can I go deeper? It's
Yeah.
always been how can I feel something richer? It's
For me, it's
always
always been
been
like, how can I heal more? How can I expand more? How can I reach higher levels of consciousness?
yeah, how can I swim in the deep end with someone? How can I evoke someone's openness? How can we
Yeah.
dance in like depth? And so what dawns on me is like all of that's really all about feeling. How can I feel a certain way? How can I help
How can I
someone else
feel
feel a
more?
certain way?
Yeah.
A sense of trust and openness and ecstasy.
Mhm.
Um, and along the way, what's emerged is more of a sex geeky pursuit to learn skills.
Yeah.
But I think that really connects to my love of learning, not my deep desire to be great at sex. You know what I mean? I've always been sort of, and I see like, I think a lot of women are oftentimes the same way. The only time I see this difference is like women want to be better at blowjobs.
Or
You
even
know,
to even enjoy them. That
yeah,
would be a
right,
good
right,
start
right.
for a lot of
Or
women. Yeah.
But more women are probably like, "How can I avoid giving them?" Not like,
Yeah.
"How can I be great
Yeah.
at them?" So
Right.
I really thought the attitude really interesting, and I was talking to somebody else who was, feeling a little frustrated, they're getting older, and so erections are harder to come by. It takes a lot more to get the arousal flowing and moving, and he was commenting that he doesn't really have a lot of orgasms with partners. His body's changing, so they're like I said, they're harder to maybe have, but he can have them with himself. And again,
Mhm.
I felt this sense of frustration and longing and
Mhm.
like, hey, I can pleasure my partner for hours and I'm delighted and happy to do so.
Mhm.
Love that they're such good receivers, but it's
Mhm.
not reciprocated.
Right.
And I thought, yeah, that's really interesting. And just thinking about growing up and, getting the messaging, boys only want you for one thing. There's like this thing of guys are the ones who want sex. So they're the ones that should be good at it. And they're the ones that should know how to do it. And I always felt like what that did is it let me off the hook of
Mhm.
having to figure it out. All I had
Mhm.
to concentrate on was being an object of desire, and that was enough participation. Everything else was kind of on them. And I can't say that there's still a part of me that sort of feels the same way. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to teach men how to pleasure women, how to pleasure me, to give them the specifics to help them get those wins so that they do feel masterful. I find that so incredibly rewarding is to teach them the skills to deliver.
I mean,
Um,
that is incredibly rewarding for sure. But
yeah.
I will have to say, I will call myself a masterful lover at this point and getting like exponentially masterful lately. Like, wow, I don't even know what is going on. It's like some channel is pouring through for me these days. And I think what a lot of women are missing is that through giving to a man, there's so much receiving, right? This is one of the things we're about to talk about in our polarity masterclass. Is like the giving and the receiving are reciprocal of each other. So even if I'm holding a container for a lover, for a man, I am doing it with total bliss and joy in my own body. Like I'm not going to do anything that doesn't feel super good to my body. Like I'm not going to get my body into a crunched weird position and make sure he's getting his pleasure. Like that doesn't that he's not, then the Shakti's not running. A circuit is short fused, So finding ways and places where you're in your total and absolute delight and pleasure, that's what's actually going to turn them on even more.
Yeah, I think that's actually really important to get the buy-in of a woman.
Yes.
Like what's
And
in for me?
yeah, totally. And I mean, I was working with a couple recently, and yeah, they've been together for over 30 years and they have good sex and they have a great marriage and they love each other and everything's great. I mean, but after a couple hours of like teaching them how to take the agenda of orgasm and even penetrative sex off the table and to get into the exploration of like your body is puzzle pieces, like how does this elbow fit in the back of that knee or behind that glute or right in the booty crack, like you get to open up so much more possibility and it feels fucking amazing. And, I just did a little collaboration with some of our sexpert friends. And I was like, your body is like full of paintbrushes. Your hands are paintbrushes, your arms, your nipples are paintbrushes, your yoni is a paintbrush, your lingam is a paintbrush, the back of your neck is a paintbrush. Like all these places, if you're using oil, you're painting with areas of your body and just exploring and learning and staying so hyper present. It's beyond presence. That word gets so used that we kind of forget what it really means. It's like what I've been really guiding people into lately is like, try to listen to a single second of sound. Use your ear, your auditory sense as a doorway to presence. Senses are doorways to presence. A single sound in a single second. Okay, now break the next second down into half of a second. Break that down into a quarter of a second. I learned this a long time ago in some Zen Buddhist meditation thing, and I've done it for, decades. So bringing it into the sensuality, it's like we can actually touch the infinite. We can actually go into like worlds within worlds of a single microsecond. And that's so fucking pleasurable because the world that we normally live in, we're constantly futurizing. We're constantly worried about what was. We're constantly worried about what hasn't come yet. And we're so far away from presence. It's causing stress and anxiety and hormone dysregulation, So it's like this is a way that when we get into the playground with each other, when we get into the sensual and the sexual realm with one another, we have the opportunity to really dive deep into, beyond presence, like into a place where you're in so much bliss and rapture, rubbing your nipple on somebody's inner ear that like nothing else matters.
Let's take a quick break.
There is a level of intimacy that most couples never reach, and that is just the truth. And it's not because they don't love each other or desire each other, but because no one taught you or me, frankly, the practices that actually build and sustain erotic depth over years and years together.
And sometimes things are feeling like they're just fine between the two of you, but you can still feel that there's something missing. There's more available, there's more sensation, there's more closeness. Sometimes you can't quite name what it is, but you know that it's missing.
Or maybe you've never had a real foundation for this kind of intimacy, and you want to build one together intentionally and from the start.
We want you to know that what you're sensing is real. In my years working with couples as a Chinese medicine doctor and Taoist sexology practitioner, I have seen something consistently. The body holds what the mind has not had a chance to process. So tension, Trauma, old experiences, emotional residue all get stored in the tissues, especially in the pelvis. And when that area is approached with skill, with presence, and within a proper ritualized container, something releases. Sensations return, and depth becomes available where it wasn't accessible before.
And I have watched this happen in the classroom hundreds of times. A couple walks in a little nervous, a little guarded, and by Sunday afternoon, they are different with each other. Not because something was fixed, but because something was opened.
And that is really what this weekend is designed to give you.
The Sacred Spot Retreat is 2 days at the Craftsbury Farmhouse in Vermont, September 26th and 27th. Saturday is devoted entirely to her body, and Sunday is devoted entirely to his.
Each day follows the same structure. We teach in the morning, then you take an extended private lunch break where you practice together, just the two of you, in your own space with exactly what you learned that morning. Then we continue in the afternoon.
This is educational, it's embodied, it's deeply intimate work, and it is completely safe. Clothes stay on when we are in group spaces throughout the entire weekend. I know this kind of weekend can feel like a big step. Maybe one of you is more ready than the other. Maybe a part of you is nervous.
It's totally normal. It's totally okay. Every couple who has ever walked into one of our retreats, including ourselves when we first stepped into these spaces, has arrived with some version of that feeling. And almost every single person afterwards says that they wish they had done it sooner.
Willow and I have spent decades building rooms where real things can happen safely, where curiosity is welcomed, nothing is ever required, and you set your own pace.
So if you've been sensing that there's more available between you and your partner than there is, and you don't have to keep finding your way there all on your own.
Again, the Sacred Spot Retreat is September 26th and 27th in Vermont. And if you want to taste before committing to the full weekend, we're also hosting a live intro night on September 25th, the evening before the retreat begins. It's 2 hours, it's only $45 per person, and it's at the same location.
So if this is speaking to you, don't wait. Retreats at this size fill really quick, and we can't add more spots to this one. So go ahead and reserve your place right now. Go to sexreimagined.com/event, and we'll see you in Vermont.
I have to say that once women get engaged with the pursuit, they're all in and they bring all the
Yes.
fascination and all the desire and all the curiosity and all the marvel that is just awaiting for them. They
Yeah.
just come through a different door for the
Mhm.
exploration. And I think it is easier for women to be more lazy lovers because of
The
how desirable
expectation.
and
Yeah.
lush and soft it is to kind of fall into them. Plus, we are the receiving station, and we've got the holes that most things go into. So
But it's
thereby,
also societal expectation, why women would drop more into that, like, oh, you just figure it out and you do it.
now, but there's also the woman that drops into this a lot earlier, and they don't get rewarded. In fact, they usually get a lot of judgment for being slutty,
Totally.
for being that kind of girl. So like the beauty of a girl dropping into her desire, dropping into her curiosity, dropping into her hunger for sexual exploration isn't often rewarded in culture. And so we're trying to suppress, often, at least from our generation. Maybe it's changing for future generations, but I
don't
can't
know.
imagine
I
it
was
changing
out
much.
dancing. I was out observing a lot of young 20-year-olds the other night on the dance floor. They were drinking and they were dancing. And I was just like, oh my God, how can I penetrate this market? Like, I feel like we could, prevent so much damage. I feel like what I was witnessing, not all of them, of course, but just a lot of irreverence for their sexuality and their
Well, I'm sure
the
alcohol plays a role in that too.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Oh. So, yeah, I mean, I think, back to like the women that I know that are very skillful, and I'm referencing very early on in my exploration, sitting in a circle of women in my 20s at a class, and they're talking about fellatio, and you could see there was like usually like 3 women in the group who were super skilled at it. Like major, like they were sort of like known, like that was their thing and they loved it. And you could tell that like they were just watching men just shatter in their mouth in total ecstasy. And I was always riveted because I kind of have a small mouth and I've never felt super confident in my skills because I always feel like my jaw's not big enough. I have a big gag reflex, can't keep my teeth out of the way. There's and penises were scary to me early on in coming of age, and there's a lot of history with that as to what I think as to why.
Right.
It has to do with childhood stuff.
Right.
And so it was like my system was really trained to just be really good at receiving. But giving was threatening, like really existentially threatening, of not being able to, everything felt like it would go too fast and I would be flooded. And suddenly I feel like I was going to be in a position that I wasn't ready for, and not knowing how to manage skillfully a situation so I could back out if I needed to, if I was in over my head. And so, I'm kind of curious. I'd love to hear from the female listeners. Like, what's your journey been regarding your own curiosity? What do you feel like was the conditioned response for your desire to be really good at sex? Because I think there's then the other flip side of the coin, which I'll just speak from experience, is wanting to be impressive too. Like, on the one hand, being scared that I would be swamped and overwhelmed if things move too fast. So it was just easier just to be the receiver instead of be the engager. But then B, wanting to be memorable, wanting to be impressive, wanting to so capture the attention of said lover that they would never want to let me go. But then when you really have a lot to choose from, if you're in a situation as a woman and you can just say next, we're more at choice because we're not often the pursuers.
Well, I mean, I think that is such a personal journey and personal experience for both men and women, whether or not we have a lot of options or not.
There's a lot of generalization.
Maybe you have a lot of options because you're you and you're beautiful.
No,
and
I
you're
never felt like
magnetic.
I had options. But the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at dating apps right now,
Yeah.
there's women have way more choices. There's
It's
so
true.
many men who are being left
is
behind
true.
in the dating world. And that's because women
Yeah.
have choices. And it's kind of why my friend was saying, look, women aren't curious about being masterful lovers because they don't have to be. Someone's going to want to fuck them anyways. So it's another reason why it's like, well, why would I be interested if part of like my biological imperative is not nearly as stressed out about finding a mate as compared to men, because a woman still has to say yes to letting you penetrate her.
Right.
She has the power because she's, again, the one with the holes.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I think there's
Say it that way. Like, even I kind of cringe when I use the word hole. Just side note.
I think there's a lot to the energetics of it all. Going back to the example of the woman at the party who knew how to wield her energy really well. She was coming in with a sense of self-worth, a sense of confidence, a sense of understanding the male brain. In fact, I just took a picture for my social media account today of the book called The Male Brain, one of my top recommended books for men and women to read, The Male Brain and the Female Brain, because when you understand the opposite sex and what's actually going on with them, you can use it to manipulate for sure. And I think there's been a lot of that going on over the years and over the eons. But then you can also use it to bring out the best in men, and you can use it to help them see themselves more clearly. So it's really it's how you use the energetics of it. And I think, you were speaking to like penises were scary. I didn't know what to do. I was all coming too fast, too furious. I didn't know how to handle it. And I think that is very true for a lot of female bodied people where, like, let's say a man is coming at you and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to give him an inch because he's going to take a mile if I do. So it's like, how do you acknowledge somebody and then close the container in a timing that works for you, in a timing that is going to help you feel more confident, more empowered, and also give them the acknowledgement that they're seeking. So this is all, it's a really such an art. And it goes beyond like being good at fellatio. It goes beyond all of the dance of sexuality if we bring it into like the energetics and the relating
Yeah.
of how it all works.
Yes, that's what we are most fascinated and interested in. I think that's maybe the door in for women, but I think a lot of men are like, "Would you reach for my cock without me having to bring your hand on top of my cock so you realize like I would like to be touched here?" Because that was another conversation. I had this conversation with 3 separate guys. He goes, "You know what makes a woman really memorable? And this is so rare." He goes, "I've rarely had this in a partner. Is for them just to reach my cock, just to hold it for the sake of holding it. I don't need you to do anything to it. I don't need you to like, it doesn't mean that you want to have sex or you're trying to get me into having sex, but you just putting my hand on my cock every once in a while. Like it does something to their heart, not just their cock. It shows that you like me. I'm desirable to you. It's nurturing. It's comforting. It's like all these things. Like I would like more partners who just do that without me having to ask for it, without me having to prompt for it. So like that's one thing. And I think a lot of men are like, I would like them to be the instigator, to be the initiator, to do things without me having to ask for it, especially as I get older, because my penis needs a little bit of encouragement as I get older. It's volunteer erections are harder to get. And then having them stay hard is harder to function. And if my lover acted more interested and did bring actual skill, did learn techniques beyond the energetics, like learn how to do things with your whole body, like you were just saying, massage the whole body with your body, to learn how to touch with greater skill, greater interest, to stay down there longer, not just to do a few strokes and then expect for everyone to be ready and now it's time to penetrate.
Yeah.
To want to make love longer, not to rush him, to hurry him up so he gets done. These are the things I think they're really talking about.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you brought that up because I think it's such a cycle. Like I think one of the reasons women don't just reach for the cock is because, don't just put their hand there, is because they believe that if I do that, that means I want sex and that means it's going to lead. And now his brain's going there and then it's all too much. It's coming at me too fast and I don't know what to do with it all,
Right.
So they don't want to give an inch because they
Right.
feel like a mile is going to be
the
taken.
expectation. Like now you're going to expect something more and I may not want more then.
Yes. And so then it does come back to holding your own energy and holding your own field around it. I mean, I've run into this myself even recently where it's like, I actually don't enjoy or appreciate when a guy moves my hand onto his cock. And most women don't. Most women don't like that. So it's like there is like this little hook of like, how can we give what they want without feeling like it's gonna turn into too much too fast for us?
So 2 things, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have the conversation, and especially for our and obviously we're talking about cisgender relationships, that let's understand that there's meaning behind all of this. The reaching for your hand, instead of getting offended, annoyed, or having a reaction, is go, oh, let me see what's happening underneath this gesture. Because we may be running a script that's not actually true for them. We may be running a conditioned thing, but
Totally.
like we could be in greater inquiry. And men, you could also say, when you do this more often, this is the impact it has on me.
Yes.
And we could ask the question, hey, I notice that you often grab my hand and place it on your penis. And I'm wondering, what does that mean to you? Tell me a little bit about what it is you're looking for, what it is your desire, what is your expectation that has you reaching for my hand that way? Because sometimes I have a little bit of a pullback. And I'm wondering if there's a different way I could hold it. Could you tell me a little bit more about what this means to you?
That's
Because
beautiful.
then we could then be more invested. If
For
we felt
sure.
like the pressure boost taken off of us,
Yeah.
then we likely would reach more.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think men, we need you to communicate more
Yes,
about
more
what you
words.
need. And not just
Yeah.
what you need from a sexual standpoint, but what the impact is
Well,
about
yeah,
what happens to you when you get it.
yeah,
How
like,
does it
how does it
meet your emotion?
feel? Yeah, how does it make you feel more connected? How does it make you feel more in your masculinity? How does it make you feel more virile? What does it do to your physical body? If you're really uncertain about all those emotional words, you can always go to your physical body. When you put your hand there, I feel like this effervescent tingling sensation run through my body, or whatever you
Yeah,
can
I
come up
feel
with.
nurtured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we're coming up with pretty feminine wordage for you guys right now, but whatever it
Yes.
is for you, I feel more energy. I feel more alive. I feel more, whatever words
Well,
come to you.
I think the point is, especially with that particular gesture, is it's not sexual always for men. It's not
Right.
because I want you to arouse me, though I might get aroused. It
Yeah.
actually makes them feel loved. I think it does make them feel nurtured. I think men crave feminine nurturing. I think they have since they were
Absolutely.
little
Everyone
boys,
craves
you know?
feminine nurturing.
I'm just saying, I think men don't always feel totally received in their desire, in their sexuality. There was a puja station that Guy did at the weekend seminar that I just loved. And what he did
What
is
was
he
it?
had the women stand behind the men in this
Mm.
exercise. And then the women opened up the men's arms. So they expanded their arms really wide
Mhm.
back. Like the women, it was
Mhm.
almost like, that moment in the Titanic where the women, where
Yeah.
what's her name is at the front,
Yeah.
the bow of the ship, and he's holding her out. It was kind of one of those moves, okay?
We
And
do
his
that at Tantra Speed Day every time.
Yeah, okay. So you see
Perfect.
that the
Yeah.
heart expands, the chest expands, the man's heart is like wide open. And then the prompt is something like, guys, imagine your desires right in front of you.
Right.
And it's coming towards you and you get to
Mhm.
have it.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful watching the look on these men's faces, watching
Mhm.
these faces soften. It was
Mhm.
like so amazing. Like, I might be able to get my desire. It was like my desire might actually be approved of. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I can have my desire, and here a woman is supporting me getting it. The
Mhm.
symbology of it, the expression of the heart chakra opening and like being wide open, feeling like I could feel the men's desire right in front of them. And it was like a magnetic pull, and their desire was coming closer and closer to their physical body. It was so stunningly beautiful. I
Mm.
was so impacted by it. And I think the big part of it was like, that the women were supporting them and having the desire, when
Yeah.
so much we feel their desire and we push it away.
Push it
Not
away.
now. It's
We
too
push it,
much.
it's
Get
almost like a
away from me.
visceral reaction, like our bodies are, before our minds can even conceptualize or think about what we're doing, our tissues like stop the desire. And I think it
Yeah.
does come back to just like safety, like
Yeah.
there's just been too long that safety hasn't been a part of the equation for women. I was just talking to a girlfriend on the beach this morning. She's like, do you realize that 40 million women were burned at the stake during the Spanish Inquisition? I'm like, that's a fucking shit.
That number cannot be right. There's no way it was 40 million. That number sounds way too high. I think we should fact check that.
Let's fact check it.
Yeah. Because I've heard other studies that say it was actually a very, very small number as compared to what we
Okay.
think it was.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
hope it
So
wasn't 40
fact check
million.
that for us. I would
Yeah.
be gobsmacked. I hope that is not the number.
I mean, it's crazy, especially back then, if there weren't even that many people on the planet,
Yeah.
Maybe she got the
God, how
number wrong. But
horrifying.
at any rate, it's
Pretty
the
right.
point is like there's a lack of safety in our systems
Yeah.
that we are contending with. Like, who is it? Oh, it's Alison Armstrong, one of our favorites, right? She always was talking about, women are the weaker gender. Like, we need men to protect us and to keep us safe, and so there needs to be an element in that. And if we're trying to protect ourselves from men, especially in the sexuality realm, it's like there has to be more more communication, I think, is a huge piece of it.
So yeah, it's interesting. Great book. I just finished listening to The Calamity Club, and it's based in like the 1930s. And what's really interesting is there were laws passed in almost every single state, especially California, by the way, where women were being sterilized. They basically were tying women's tubes if they were promiscuous. They called them feeble-minded. They were allowed to arrest women on the street if they appeared promiscuous. And this happened to a lot of African American women, was the major population, where they were arrested, they could be beaten, and they could be sterilized. And it was so atrocious to me. I'm like, well, so like you're saying, burning at the stake, there is something in the female nervous system that to be sexual, to actually take our sexuality and sexualize others, was actually literally dangerous.
Dangerous, literally.
100 years ago. So there is something in the nervous system. So it's helpful for men to know that.
Totally.
But
okay, I fact checked for us. We got 3,000 to 5,000 people were executed overall. Witchcraft cases, quote unquote, the number was much smaller.
Yeah.
One source notes that at least, anyway, this is all
so
just.
You may want to tell your friend our 40 million is off by millions.
Is off, way off. I was like, I know this
was like,
damn, no wonder we're up against it.
Yeah.
Hard on our nervous systems.
So, ladies, we might be able to get off that bandwagon, by the way.
Yeah.
We're hard at the stake. We
don't have to carry that in our systems anymore. No.
So, but here's the thing. Especially the women who are like listening to this show are not women who are no longer have to worry about being sterilized, who are not being burned at the stake. It is safe now to actually lead with some of our own sexuality. It is safe now to pursue becoming very skilled as a sexual person, to want to ravish men, sexualize men, bring them ecstatic pleasure, get them into not just their sexual body, but their emotional body. To have skills with that has been one of the most
enjoy giving fellatio
pursuit of my entire life. Nothing is more interesting, more satisfying, more special than being skillful at providing sexual love, to helping men feel deeply, emotionally, sexually loved and pleasured to their core. I am here to testify. Hallelujah. This is something that I also want to inspire and hope for women to invest their time, their energy, their resources, their curiosity in developing this, because men are worthy of it and they're delicious in their pleasure. And it's such a joy. It's so healing to meet them in that space. And so if you haven't been asking yourself questions, ladies, how can I be a more masterful lover? Let this episode be the call to you, that it is such a worthy pursuit. It will touch your life. It will change your life in ways you can't even imagine. And that's really the reason why I wanted to do this episode, is to go, fucking, we've been missing the boat on something. To love men in this way, to watch them unfurl beneath your hands and everything else.
It is really quite an honor to witness a man rewire his nervous system and his synaptic pathways from his brain to his heart to his cock. It's really a miracle. It's a miracle to witness. It's really a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a part of, to get to deliver. It brings so much pleasure and so much healing to your own heart, not to mention gives you a whole new sense of confidence in yourself and your skills and what you have to offer to, a huge part of the population of the world, and a big part that is in a lot of pain and suffering right now.
And in closing, I want to say something else that really impacted me in a conversation, and that is smile more. Everybody Smile
Smile
more. When you walk
more.
in your room smiling, you light up the whole room. It has a deep impact on men, and it makes men actually feel compelled to want to keep your smile on your face. They're so much more generous with us and our needs when we show that we are happy and we light up our face with our smiles. So let's just end with that. Thanks for this episode, y'all. This is one of those that I would really appreciate your comments, even if you totally disagree with everything we've brought to the table.
Do it with a smile, though.
Do it with a smile. All right, cheers.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.
All right, moment of truth here. How often does sex feel less like connection and more like something you're trying to get right or get through? Do you race to the finish? Do you find yourself performing instead of feeling? Maybe going through the motions instead of actually being there? Now imagine the opposite, slowing all the way down. Feeling everything, everything, instead of racing past. Turning sex into something you actually get to savor and unfurl into. That's what I'm teaching live on September 2nd in a brand new masterclass called Slow Tantric Sex. 90 minutes, live over Zoom, real practices for building anticipation and staying present in arousal instead of rushing through it. It's only $33 to join live, and the cheat sheet and lifetime replay for just $11 more, so you never lose access to what you learn. Grab your tickets at sexreimagine.com/events.